social distance from each other. I want to use this opportunity to implore us to make sure that we obey all these instructions that the government is putting out. It's for our own good, and this is the only way that is known for us to limit the spread of this disease. So please, everybody, heed the advice. And if you do know anybody who may be exposed, maintain a high level of suspicion, call quickly, and let your people be taken care of.
It will be recalled that the lockdown of Ogun State will commence on Friday, 3rd of April, 2020. Tunde Olaniro, OGTV News.
Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, says only Lagos, Ogun and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, are on lockdown, warning against restriction of movement in other states. As a measure to stop the spread of COVID-19, President Muhammadu Buhari had on Sunday ordered the lockdown in FCT and the 2 states. Prior to the president's order, some governors had ordered restrictions of movement in their states, but the SGF, who also heads the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, during a briefing on Monday, said the president's order was definitive and categorical. Mustafa said he would get across to security personnel in states where borders have been shut in order to enlighten them on the directive of the president. In the meantime, the federal government has announced that all markets in states where a lockdown was imposed, which are Lagos, the FCT and Ogun State, will be opened and will be allowed to open between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. daily. The national coordinator of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Aliyu Sani, said this during a briefing by members of the task force. For markets, only shops and stores selling food and groceries shall be allowed to open to customers between the hours of 10 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, he said. Meanwhile, for supermarkets and food stores, their opening hours must be between 10 in the morning and 4 in the evening, and all owners and managers have been warned to screen staff and customers before entry. With the coronavirus pandemic impacting communities across the world, Ogun State government is working around the clock to ensure the provision of safe and portable water service to the citizenry. The General Manager, Ogun State Water Corporation, Engineer Olusheye Maku, stated that government has directed the procurement of water chemicals and several measures to ensure that clean portable water is provided during the lockdown period in the state. Shemiluri Amore has the details.
Following the implementation of lockdown in some states in Nigeria, so as to stem the tide of COVID-19 cases, people have expressed a fear of lack of potable water supply during the period.
Thanks to that number, we don't have electricity. One of the problems that the government is confronting is electricity. And since there's no electricity, you cannot generate, you cannot, pump water.
Residents of Abeokuta also expressed concern that the coronavirus pandemic has caused unprecedented rise in cost of pure water due to travel restrictions, which has affected importation of materials used in production.
The raw materials are not coming in. And once raw materials are not coming in, it's been difficult for us to get rows to produce.
For now, a kg of nylon was 700, 710. As we speak now, a kg is now 1,002, 1,003.
Indian guy that are drilling a bowl will be able to get a very adequate water, that because we dig another industrial bowl that provide us sufficient water.
The General Manager of Ogun State Water Corporation, Engineer Olusheye Maku, while speaking with OGTV News, reassures that the government has approved delivery of water chemicals for provision of safe and clean water to the citizenry.
We have started to take delivery of some of these chemicals. To date, we have taken delivery of 1,200 bags of aluminum sulfate. And we also expect additional chemical supply, that is hydrated line. We are also ensuring that there will be water supply at Yemuji to supply the people of Ijebu-Ode. We are also supplying water through Ikongba to some parts of Ijebu-Ode also. Ikene, we have resumed water supply there, although we intend to perfect that one tomorrow. Ayetoro water supply is also ongoing. Before the lockdown that will start on Friday, we have also perfected water supply at Igbogila and Iboru.
Engineer Maku states that supply of potable water would help families practice social distancing, as this would limit person-to-person contact at public water taps.
And in the course of that, we're also looking at Ipokia. So you can see that generally throughout the state, we are making preparation to make sure that there's water supply and that people also are encouraged to stay at home, so that we all together work together to make sure that we flush out this coronavirus pandemic from our environment.
The Ogun State government has resumed water supply to different communities in the state to ensure adequate supply in all households. Shemilure Amore, OGTV News.
In part 2, after the break, federal government commences 20,000 naira conditional transfer to poor Nigerians. OGTV News returns shortly.
Why do we have to teach you the types of sentences to identify and use a range of sentence types?
If the question concerns length or angles in a triangle, you may need the sine rule or the cosine rule.
Hygiene is the way you take care of your body. The activities that you do, like taking your bath regularly, washing your hands, taking care of your mouth, your teeth, and your body entirely.
Birth of a new plant. This is our roots. Look at the stem. The seed leaves is coming out of the seed. The best soil for our plants is what? Loamy soil.
Let's go on and check what two-dimensional shapes are. Triangle, rectangle, square shape, circle, kite, parallelogram, trapezium shape.
A formal letter is regarded as an official letter that is written to someone who is at the government office. You have to look at the introduction, you have to look at your address, the body, and of course the conclusion. For those that listen carefully and follow us very well, they will never miss out.
Welcome back. We will be starting with this breaking news. Latest report has it that the Nigeria Center for Disease Control has announced 23 new cases of coronavirus pandemic. This brings the total of confirmed cases of the disease to 174. We'll be giving you updates on how the story develops. Residents of Oshiele, Odeda and its environs in Odeda local government area are fully prepared not only to comply with the stay-at-home order of the federal government beginning from Friday, 3rd of March 2020, but also to continually fulfill precautionary measures to flatten the curve of the spread of COVID-19 pandemic. These were the submissions of those who spoke with OGTV News crew in Oshiele and Odeda while observing their level of preparedness in the imminent lockdown in Ogun State. Peter Falomo reports.
Recently, President Muhammadu Buhari, in a nationwide broadcast, ordered a lockdown of Abuja and Lagos states with 5 days waiver for Ogun State, which begins on Friday, 3rd of April 2020. In the wake of the lockdown, OGTV News roved across some communities in Odeda local government area of Ogun State to feel the pulse of residents on their level of awareness on COVID-19 pandemic and how prepared they are for the lockdown in the state.
Àti gbogbo abúlé ni o, local government as a whole àti gbáradì láti wí pé nǹkan tá máa jẹ, nǹkan tá máa mu, nǹkan tá máa lò, ká pèsè sínú ilé, kólúkálùkù tẹ̀lé àṣẹ ìjọba láti pé gbogbo nǹkan tí ìjọba sọ fún wa kí gbogbo ẹ̀ kó lè kẹ́sẹ̀ járí.
We are ready to cooperate with the government because we know that it's all for our benefit and to help our nation, Nigeria, as well.
For the 14 days period of lockdown, respondents say total compliance will be of great benefit to the people, as anyone that has the symptoms of coronavirus will become manifest and for necessary medical assistance.
During that time, if we all stay home, by the time the 14 days are over, we will know that the thing has been eradicated to some level.
And if they see anything anything sneezing, cough, whatever, they should just report themselves for safety.
And it's the duty of every one of us to abide with the government's information that stay at home and then to prevent others from carrying the virus from us.
On the level of personal hygiene, environmental cleanliness, observance of social distancing, and other health factors, a medical practitioner analyzes why they become inevitable.
I want to say there, the virus, you cannot treat a virus. You can only give symptomatic treatment. Somebody's coughing, you make sure you solve that problem. Somebody's having temperature, you solve the problem. Those are what we mean by symptomatic treatment. That is, the symptoms that patient gives, that is what you use in treating.
Others submitted that the act of maintaining high level of hygiene should go beyond the period of lockdown, but be observed on daily basis.
With the hands of the clock ticking to the last minute of Friday night, when we will have a total lockdown in Ogun State, residents of Oshiele and Odeda seems to be ready to comply with the order of the government. From Odeda, in Odeda local government area of Ogun State, Peter Falomo, OGTV News.
The Commissioner of Police, Ogun State Command, CP Kenneth Heberson, has warned officers and men of the State Police Command to be civil with the members of the public while enforcing the 14 days lockdown order imposed by the federal government to checkmate the widespread of the deadly coronavirus, also known as COVID-19. According to a statement by the Police Public Relations Officer, DSP Abimbola Oyeyemi, the CP handed down the warning on Wednesday when he went round for on-the-spot assessment of border closure in Ogun State. The CP, who moved around with the State Director of Department of State Security, Mr. David Tasco, and Commandant Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Mr. Ahmed Aboduri, visited the boundary between Ogun and Lagos State, Ojodubega area, as well as boundary between Ogun and Oyo State, Ogunmakin area. The CP expressed satisfaction with the conduct of security agencies in the area visited, admonished them to take their time to explain the rationale behind the lockdown to the people, and persuade them to comply with the order rather than being harsh and brutal in their approach. He stressed that the country is in a trying period and all hands must be on deck to fight and defeat the deadly virus. The Joint Health Sectors Union, JOHESU, and Assembly of Healthcare Professionals has called on all health workers across Nigeria to support government, both federal and state, in curtailing the spread of the novel coronavirus pandemic. This is according to a letter jointly signed by the National Chairman and Secretary of JOHESU, Comrade Bill Joy Josiah, and Comrade Epebo Florence. In this letter, JOHESU thanked members in their courageous efforts so far, especially those at boundary entry point, emergency unit, ICU, and in various isolation centers. JOHESU thanked its members for their resilience and commitment to combat the dreaded COVID-19 menace. The health body observed that despite agitation among health workers over unkept commitment and promises from federal and state government, health workers have stood tall in forefront as first responders in stemming the spread of COVID-19 pandemic. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board has donated 3 ventilators to the University of Abuja Teaching Hospital, Gwagwalada, to support the federal government fight against coronavirus in the country. This was contained in a statement on Wednesday by the board head of media and publicity, Dr. Fabian Benjamin. This was born out of the board's desire to plan in line with the federal government determination to ensure that no Nigerian succumbed to the virus. The donation of these ventilators, which cost several million, is to strategically place these hospitals in good stead to give necessary treatment to COVID-19 patients, whether in Buhari or any other parts of Abuja. Away from COVID-19, 44 years today, Apple computer was created by Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak alongside Ronald Wayne in 1976. Considered as fathers of digital revolution, their massive innovation shaped the world of technology and media by moving the power of computer from laboratory to fingerprints of people. Shemilori Amore tells us more.
Apple Computer Inc., a multinational corporation that creates consumer electronics, was founded on April 1, 1976. Before putting the virtual world at people's fingertips, 20-year-old Steve Jobs launched the revolution from his parents' garage with his friend, Steve Wozniak.
You're going to see the product line get much simpler, and you're going to see the product line get much better. And there's some new stuff coming out that's incredibly nice. In addition, we've been able to focus a lot more on the 30% of the gems and add some new stuff in that is going to take us in some whole new directions.
The company first produced a typewriter-like keyboard with the ability to connect to a regular TV as a screen. The computer later was christened Apple I.
Because they started with what is called computer with only motherboard. Now it got to a point that they now have so many other things that's incorporated alongside with Apple. And when you look at it, it has so many advantages in the sense that it has created a lot of job opportunity for people. They sold highest number of phones in the whole world, that iPhone. Do you understand? A lot of people are working for them. They make about 360-something million US dollars for the economy of America. That shows that what they started in the past, that time, actually, improved.
Musicians are actually one of the most beneficiary of Apple, because from their Apple Music, Apple stores, the likes of, and also for technology as a whole, Apple actually came into the industry with the mindset of getting more revenue. It says that they have this close-ended operating system in such a way that it creates money. You buy what you want from Apple, and they give you the service they render.
The 80s brought a power struggle with Apple's board, and Jobs soon left the company he founded, with few members, to start a new company called Next that specialized in computers for higher education.
Windows operating systems is not virus free, so they are recommending that you must start to use Mac and the other, so that you can be virus free. Then the system is reliable, it's not going to shut down, your window is not going to crash anyhow like the Windows usually crash. So people are really enjoying using iPhone, the Apple.
And from their manufacturing, their software development, their Apple Music, Apple TV and the likes, we could actually believe that Apple has actually evolved the face of technology throughout the whole world.
In 1996, Apple bought Next, and soon, Jobs was back in charge, leading a digital renaissance.
But smartphones are definitely a little smarter, but they actually are harder to use. They're really complicated. Just for the basic stuff, people have a hard time figuring out how to use them. Well, we don't want to do either one of these things. What we want to do is make a leapfrog product that is way smarter than any mobile device has ever been and super easy to use. This is what iPhone is. Okay?
In 2011, the man who changed the way humans live their lives every day, Steve Jobs, the visionary founder and leader of computer, died at the age of 56. Shemilori Amore, OGTV News.
Peaceful coexistence can only be achieved through respect for life, justice, tolerance, human rights, appreciating cultural differences, and respect for human dignity. This was the view of respondents who spoke with OGTV News on the need to adopt a preventive style to managing conflict. Ife Sholuwade has details in this report presented from our studios.
As it is widely known, for conflict to arise, two or more people must engage in a struggle over values, status, power and resources, hence the importance of peace in conflict resolution. Frustration of youth unemployment, social, political and economic exclusion, as well as poverty are some of the factors that breed violence, extremism and instability in any nation.
Conflict is part of the society. It's something you cannot avoid, but it's something you can manage, because conflict is responsible for the development, advancement, and increment in the society.
Legal practitioner Isaac Uzuya says conflicts can be managed if the conflicting parties can dialogue, negotiate, and reach a conclusion without any form of prejudice.
But the problem we have in Nigeria also is the mind is already prejudiced before settlement comes. My father told me that you cannot have settlement when there's a knife on the table. You can't have settlement where there are guns and knives on the table. But settlement that comes from the heart is already a prejudiced settlement. It's already a fraudulent settlement. So the other person seeing these indices of fraud in your statement will not take it. So you have not succeeded in settling.
In his contribution, a public analyst, Dr. Sholade Oshun, advises government, organizations and stakeholders to always adopt proactive methods of conflict management.
And we need to understand our environment, and we need to, from time to time, do environmental scanning by gathering data, analyze it in order to know likely problem, conflict that may arise, and see how we can manage it before it happens.
Mr. Lawale Olusanya, who is the unit head of peace and conflict resolution of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Ogun State Command, calls for peaceful coexistence among every individual within a region through peace, education and advocacy.
We can only reduce, we can only manage conflict. It's not totally resolvable. But as security experts, especially in the field of mediation, our encouragement to all and sundry is that let's learn to tolerate one another. Let's learn to be accommodative of one another's shortcoming. If I can understand you very well, I will understand that today you might not have all it takes for you to meet my need. Tomorrow it might be better for you. So once I do understand that, then I'll be able to accommodate any shortcomings and we will live together in peace.
Respondents also stressed the need for stakeholders and government to inculcate the practice of participation, dialogue and cooperation to achieve peace and crisis management.
In continuation of operations aimed at flushing out hand bandits from the country, the The Armed Forces of Nigeria, through the air component of Operation Gamma IK, has neutralized some bandits at their hideout located about 10 kilometers southeast of Pandanguri in Niger State. In a release by the Acting Director of Defense Media Operations, Brigadier General Bernard Onyeko, the attack was undertaken on Tuesday, March the 31st, 2020, sequel to credible human intelligence report indicating that the bandit had assembled under a group of trees at Kalabu village near Pandanguri. The Nigerian Air Force attack helicopter dispatched for an armed reconnaissance mission in the area spotted and engaged the bandit, neutralizing some with others, while others managed to escape with gunshot wounds in furtherance of the objective of restoring peace and security in the Northwest. Armed Forces of Nigeria will sustain the offensives against the enemies of the country while the mission is accomplished and completed. 3 persons have been confirmed killed in a fresh attack by gunmen suspected to be Fulani herdsmen in Acha community, Mango District, Basa local government area of Plateau State. Chairman-elect from Mango Youth Development Association, Mr. Nuhu Kali, who confirmed the incident in Jos, said that several houses were also set ablaze by the gunmen during the attack. Kali lamented that the latest attacks on their community could have been averted if the security operatives had responded to their calls. Spokesman of the State Police Command, ASP Uba Agbaba, when contacted, said the investigation into the killing was ongoing. On business news, investors lose 2.5 trillion naira in just 1 month at the stock market. Join us on the business segment of the news. Welcome to Business News. The federal government has reduced the price of petrol from 125 naira per litre to 123 naira 50 kobo per litre. Current petrol price indicates a reduction of 1 naira 50 kobo on every litre of petrol purchased nationwide. It announced the reduction through the Petroleum Product Pricing Regulatory Agency after a whole-day meeting with stakeholders in the oil and gas sector in Abuja. Announcing the reduction, the Executive Secretary of the PMS Pricing Regulator, Abdul Kabir Sadu, said PPPRA, in line with the government approval for a monthly review of premium motor spirit pump price, hereby announced guiding PMS pump price of 123 naira 50 kobo per litre. The guiding price becomes effective 1st of April 2020 and shall apply to all the retail outlets nationwide for the month of April 2020. Sadu added that members of the public and all oil marketing companies are to be guided accordingly. Meanwhile, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, has assured that its members will comply with the new pump price of petrol as directed by the federal government. The government had on Tuesday announced for the court in domestic pump price of petrol from 125 naira to 123 naira 50 kobo per litre. The new price cut is coming 3 weeks after the government slashed the initial price from 145 naira per litre down to 125 naira per litre. In a statement by IPMAN President Sanusi Fari, the association also pledged that members would work in sync with the leadership of the National Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers and petroleum tanker drivers to mitigate the pain occasioned by the sit-at-home order of the federal government. Fari said despite the new price cuts, petroleum marketers would continue to ensure that petrol filling stations across the country remain open to serve the public. Oil marketers have lost about 3.5 billion naira to the reduction of price of premium motor spirit to 125 naira per litre from 145 naira per litre. except if the federal government decides to compensate them by reimbursing parts of the loss. The loss may go above the 3.5 billion naira figure at the end of industry-wide collation. The chairman, Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria, Mr. Tunji Oyebanji, told newsmen that currently the loss across the distribution and retail industry is 3.5 billion naira. Besides, he said the federal government has not worked on the agreement reached after the price reduction. Part of the agreement is on fuel importation, margins review, and making foreign exchange available to them for fuel importation at affordable rate. The federal government has commenced the disbursement of 5,000 naira to over 1 million indigents across the country. The Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, said on Wednesday while kickstarting the disbursement that due to the surge of COVID-19, the federal government is giving out 20,000 naira per person for the next 4 months, starting from March 2020. She explained that the president, during his broadcast last week, directed that the conditional cash transfer should be given in advance of 2 months. The loss suffered in equities by investors within a month after Nigeria recorded its first confirmed case of coronavirus was put at 2.56 trillion naira. As a country contends with rising cases of COVID-19, investors scurried for the exit, creating a buyer's market that saw most transactions closing at significantly low prices. The benchmark indices for the equities market indicated average decline of 18.75% in March, equivalent to net capital depreciation of 2.56 trillion naira. The aggregate market value of all quoted equities at the Nigerian Stock Exchange dropped from the March opening value of 13.658 trillion naira to close yesterday at 11.101